Hello, everyone, gather round and sit comfortably. Because I have a very important secret to share with you. This is a secret about a boy named Finn, who lived in a house that smelled exactly like warm vanilla cookies and sunshine. Finn was a perfectly normal boy, except for one very special thing. His best friend was an old, wise, slightly grumpy garden gnome named Sir Reginald. Now, Sir Reginald wasn't made of plaster like the ones you might see in a garden store. Sir Reginald was alive. He had a magnificent, mossy green hat, a big, bushy white beard that smelled of pine needles and cinnamon, and he wore tiny, shiny, acorn cat boots. Every morning, Sir Reginald would tell Finn fantastical tales about the world of the Candied Lands, a place beyond the tall oak tree at the end of Finn's garden. Ah, Finn, my lad, you simply wouldn't believe the Gumdrop Garden. It's where the rain tastes of sweet lemonade, and the butterflies have wings made of spun sugar. But one sunny afternoon, something terrible happened. Finn ran out to the garden to ask Sir Reginald what flavor the grass was in the Candied Lands. But Sir Reginald was gone. In his place, tucked under a patch of sparkly moss, was a small, rolled-up piece of parchment. It was a map, but not just any map. It was a whispering map. Find the place where the lollipop tree sheds its rainbow leaves. Only there can the forgotten gnome be retrieved. Beware the Giggle-Snatcher, young adventurer, beware. Finn's heart thumped like a drum against a gingerbread wall. Sir Reginald had been snatched. And the map led straight to the Candied Lands. Finn grabbed the map, his special, emergency adventure, backpack, and he ran to the tall oak tree. He pressed his hand to the rough bark, just like Sir Reginald had shown him. Whispered the secret word, Zoodle. The tree trunk twisted, the air shimmered with the smell of caramelized sugar. And Finn stepped through the doorway into the most astonishing place he had ever seen, the Candied Lands. The ground wasn't dirt. It was brown sugar sand that crunched softly under his sneakers. Giant, red and white striped peppermint sticks stood like fence posts, sparkling in the sugary sunlight. And there, towering above everything, was the legendary lollipop tree. Finn unrolled the whispering map. The path splits two ways. The first is the Marshmallow River. The second, the Chocolate Mountain. The Snatcher waits where the river flows highest, and the mountain peak is crowned with frosting. Finn had to choose the Marshmallow River or the Chocolate Mountain. He looked left. He looked right. The mountain was dark, rich, and covered in a thick, inviting white dusting of powdered sugar. He remembered Sir Reginald's lessons. Always take the high road to get the best view of the trouble. Chocolate Mountain, here I come. And he began his climb. Climbing the Chocolate Mountain was hard work. The powdered sugar kept making him slip, and the mountain itself was soft and crumbly. Up Finn went. He pulled himself over a thick, gooey peanut butter cup boulder. He squeezed between two massive, dark chocolate chunks. The sweet smell was so intense it almost made his stomach ache. Finally, he reached a small, dark opening halfway up the mountain. It looked exactly like a bear's cave, but this one was lined with shiny, stretchy caramel. The caramel cave, the whispering map rustled. The first test awaits. The Guardian Gummy Bear guards the path. Finn took a deep breath and stepped inside. The caramel wall stuck gently to his clothes. And there, Sitting on a pile of shiny, foil-wrapped coins, was the biggest, reddest gummy bear Finn had ever seen. The gummy bear said, "I am Gumbo, the guardian of the caramel cave. No one passes unless they answer my riddle of the treat. Listen closely, small human. I have a coat of white, but I am sweet inside. I come in a cup, but I am never tea. I melt very fast, but I am not ice. What am I?" Finn squinted. He thought about the mountain, the river, and the whole Candied Lands. He thought about things that were sweet, white, and melted fast. Was it a snowball? No, snow wasn't sweet. Was it sugar? No, sugar didn't usually come in a cup. Then, he looked up at the powdered sugar on the mountain peak. It was white, sweet, and melted quickly when you held it. But, in a cup. Suddenly, a little bell rang in Finn's mind. Finn said, "I know. It's a hot cocoa with marshmallows. The hot chocolate is sweet inside the white marshmallow coat, it comes in a cup, and it melts fast." Gummy Bear replied, "You are correct, small human. You may pass, but beware, the Giggle-Snatcher is quick." The Gummy Bear stomped his giant, gummy foot, and a trapdoor opened in the floor. Finn slid down a shiny, bumpy, milk chocolate slide. He landed with a gentle thump at the bottom, and found himself not outside, but in a strange, dimly lit tunnel. The tunnel walls were covered in rock candy. They looked like jagged jewels, sparkling with colors of ruby red, emerald green, and sapphire blue. Whispering Map had one more instruction. Follow the sound of the silent laugh. The Snatcher can only be found where all sweetness turns sour. Finn walked through the rock candy tunnel. He felt scared now. This tunnel was cold, and the air here smelled weirdly empty. Suddenly, he heard it. It wasn't a sound, but a feeling. It was a shivering in the air, a tiny, ticklish feeling that made him want to giggle. But the giggle was trapped inside. It was a silent laugh. He followed the strange feeling until the rock candy tunnel opened up into a dark, shadowy cavern.
The cavern was vast. And sitting in the middle, looking very sad and tied up with licorice rope, was Sir Reginald. The old man said, "Finn." "Oh, thank goodness. I knew my trusty lad would find me. I've been forced to eat only broccoli-flavored jelly beans." But Finn didn't have time to untie him. Standing guard over Sir Reginald was the villain of the Candied Lands, the Giggle-Snatcher. The Giggle-Snatcher looked like a tall, thin stack of burnt sugar brittle. He had beady, squinty red eyes and wore a patchy, dark purple cloak. "Well, well, well," the Snatcher hissed. "Look what the sugary wind blew in. A small, noisy human. I, the Great Grumblesnap, am so glad you came. I collect two things, little boy, giggles and gnomes. And now I shall collect your giggle too." The Giggle-Snatcher held up a weird contraption. It looked like a vacuum cleaner with a big, clear plastic jar on top. He aimed the nozzle at Finn. "You see, little human," Grumblesnap sneered, "when I steal a giggle, I trap the joy, and the poor victim can only feel grumbles. And the only way to release the giggles I've stolen is to make me, Grumblesnap, actually laugh." Sir Reginald whispered, "Finn, he can't laugh. He hasn't laughed since the Great Pie Eating Contest of '78. Finn was scared, but he was also angry. He thought about Sir Reginald and all the fun, giggly stories they shared. He looked at Grumblesnap, who was clearly miserable, even though he was trying to be mean. Finn knew he couldn't fight Grumblesnap. He couldn't outrun the giggle-sucking vacuum. He had to make him laugh. But how do you make a creature made of burnt sugar brittle, who hasn't laughed in almost 50 years, suddenly burst with joy? Finn looked at his backpack. He still had the half-eaten peanut butter sandwich and the 3 shiny pebbles. "Grumble-Snap," Finn shouted. "I challenge you to a silly face standoff. If you can look at my silliest face without even cracking a snicker, you can take my giggle. But if you so much as chuckle, you have to release Sir Reginald and all the stolen giggles." The Snatcher, Grumble-Snap, accepted the challenge. "Done. My face has been set in stone for decades. I am ready for your pathetic attempt." Finn took a deep breath. He scrunched up his nose, wiggled his ears, and stuck his tongue out as far as it would go. Grumble-Snap just stared. Nothing. Finn tried again. He rolled his eyes, puffed out his cheeks like a balloon, and crossed his eyes. Grumble-Snap narrowed his eyes. Still nothing. Finn needed a secret weapon. He reached into his backpack and pulled out the 3 shiny pebbles. He placed them carefully on his face, one on his forehead, one on the tip of his nose, and one tucked under his lower lip. Then, he held the half-eaten peanut butter sandwich up to his ear like it was a phone. He wobbled his head, making the pebbles try to fall off, and shouted into the sandwich. "Hello? Yes, this is Sandwich Phone. The hamsters are on strike. They demand tiny, sparkly capes." "What's that? You're giving them tiny, sparkly capes?" It was so perfectly, gloriously silly that Sir Reginald, even tied up, started to bounce and giggle. And then, it happened. A tiny sound, like a piece of brittle snapping. Grumble-Snap, the Giggle-Snatcher, started to make a weird noise. "Hee hee! What are you doing with that sandwich phone?" "Ha ha 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 ha! Tiny sparkly capes! Hee hee hey hey! Oh, that's absurd! Ha 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 ha!" Grumble-Snap didn't just laugh, he cackled. He threw his head back, and the sound of his pure, unforced joy was so loud it shook the whole cavern. When he laughed, the energy of all his stolen giggles broke free. 1,000 tiny, rainbow-colored lights flew out of the vacuum jar. They zipped through the air, heading back to their rightful owners. The licorice ropes holding Sir Reginald instantly snapped, and he was free. Sir Reginald patted Finn. "Huzzah! You did it, my lad. You won with pure silliness."
Grumble-Snap, the former Giggle-Snatcher, stood there, completely breathless from laughing. He didn't look mean anymore. He looked exhausted and maybe a little embarrassed. He said, "Wow, I forgot what that felt like. It's nice. I think I'll stop snatching giggles and start. Well, maybe I'll try collecting compliments instead." Finn smiled. "That's a great idea, Grumble-Snap. You have a very nice, shiny cloak." Grumble-Snap actually blushed. Sir Reginald walked over, dusted off his mossy hat, and put a firm hand on Finn's shoulder. "Come, my boy, it is time to go home." Finn grabbed a small piece of sparkly rock candy as a souvenir. He waved goodbye to Grumble-Snap, who was already busy complimenting a passing peppermint butterfly on its stripes. Finn and Sir Reginald walked out of the cavern, down the crumbly chocolate mountain, past the now gently flowing Marshmallow River, and back toward the tall oak tree. As they stepped through the magical twist in the trunk, and back into Finn's familiar vanilla and sunshine garden, the world settled back to normal. They sat down on the grass. Finn took a big, happy breath. "Sir Reginald," Finn said, "what flavor is the grass in the Candied Lands?" Sir Reginald answered, "Ah, Finn, it's exactly the flavor of an amazing adventure. It's a taste of bravery, kindness, and a whole lot of silliness. And that, my friends, is where our adventure ends for today." Finn still keeps the rock candy and the whispering map. But, he doesn't need him anymore to find Sir Reginald. The old gnome is right back where he belongs, ready to tell Finn the next great tale. Every night, before Finn goes to sleep, he hears a soft, gentle whisper coming from the garden. It's Sir Reginald's promise for the next day. Thank you all for joining Finn and Sir Reginald on the Great Gumdrop Garden Adventure. Remember to keep your eyes open for silliness, your heart ready for adventure, and never underestimate the power of a peanut butter sandwich. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.